Okay, so I've had a few comments, people, a few different times where people have shown up in my chat and live streams and a couple other places talking about Steam DRM. And, like, Steam is a big piece of DRM and it manages everything, and you can't play any of your Steam games without Steam running. And that is, like, really, really false in all reality. There are quite a few DRM-free games that are distributed on Steam. Oh, you can just do a search like this in whatever your favorite search engine is and get a list of like different links and curated lists that will give you a bunch of games that are DRM free on Steam. So we can go to like the first link here. This is one such list right here. So you've got the launcher free games. So we can go through, and they've even listed it by OS if the list wants to expand, maybe. Or not. I guess not. Okay, there we go. So you can see that our launcher-free games, we've actually got a sizable list, even including 100% like Orange Juice, let's see, 7th Legion, 8-Bit Adventure Anthology, and you can see you've got your checkboxes right there, and then some notes on it. Let's see, Age of Empires 3 Complete Collection, Age of Wonders, Age of Conquest. Let's see. And even there, in many cases, the games with DRM implemented use some third-party implementation of it. So you've got Atto, which was tested on Linux with Wine. You've got Atom RPG, and I believe Atom RPG even is distributed with a Linux native binary. So like you can see our third column, both of them work just fine on Linux, both Atom RPG and Trudegrad. So you've got a whole list right here. Let's go Baldur's Gate 3, I guess on Windows, and then NA is... Yeah, so you could feasibly put together an UMU config to make it work. And then you've even got it here. Depending on where you got it, if you got it on GOG like I have it for Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, it's fine either way. But they have notes on how to run it, like point to it and what have you. There are some of these games, like Beneath a Steel Sky, that you just run in a different like source port or engine. So like Scum VM, for example. You'll just find it in your Steam folder, or there might be scripts out there that'll do it for you automatically, and it'll work perfectly. Let's see. Blood, Alley, Bowl, Branch, Net, Price, Hell. Darn it. Yeah. Okay. So if we go back up, can we get... Let's collapse this one. If we can. While that waits, we've also got this big list of DRM-free games right here. So they've got it sorted by publisher. So you've got Blood Fresh Supply. Now, Blood is going to be different because you've got various source ports. And a couple of these are going to be the same way due to open source implementations. You don't necessarily... The default binary may be DRM-free, but you can just copy over the game files and run it in a modern, up-to-date version of the engine that's open source and play the game that way as well. Let's see, Bethesda Softworks. So you've got classic Doom, obviously. Doom 64, when Steam is not installed, or by creating a Steam App ID text file in the game's install directory containing its Steam App ID. Bethesda.net signup can be skipped. Let's see, you've got the Fallouts, Heretic. There was Arx Fatalis. I thought they have the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall and Elder Scrolls Arena. So they are sorting it by games who basically out of the box are DRM free. What's interesting is what's not included here is the likes of Morrowind, which you can play DRM free by copying the game files over or just pointing OpenMW to your Steam config. And it's DRM or your Steam folder where the data is installed. Let's see, CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077. That makes a lot of sense that Cyberpunk would be that way. They distribute it on GOG DRM free, so why not everywhere else? Let's see, DRM free. When Steam is not installed or by creating a Steam app ID txt file in the game's installation directory. So again, you do in some cases have to pay attention to the notes, but there are a lot of these that seem like they will run straight out of the box. And Serious Sam is another one of those that has an alternate build where you can play it in an open source engine that is more up to date if it hasn't been ported up already. Let's see, Lucasfilms Disney, you've got Star Wars Dark Forces. Again, alternate engine, although it's prepackaged in DOSBox. A lot of the DOSBox ones are going to be DRM free, just because it's DOSBox, basically. Let's see, Steam DRM removed 2024. Let's see, do you have Command & Conquer, Tiberian Sun and Firestorm, Covert Operations? Let's go back over here. Did you collapse this yet? No? Okay. So, I'm going to scroll all the way down manually. So you can see that, like, you've got the Steam App ID TXT games. So this is where you're going to have to create a Steam App ID TXT, and then it will run your various DOSBox games. You've got Flash games, patchable games, must be published DRM-free outside of Steam. DRM-free version must have the same directory structure, and there must be at least one patch from the developers or an almost official patch from the community available. And the patch must override the .exesh so that the CEG component will be erased. You've got Paradox games that have their own category. Sega emulator games. Let's see. DRM-free game codes. So you can basically get a crossover. And then a full comprehensive list. So the Steam fandom wiki is a big resource. Again, you've got the PC Gaming Wiki that will have your various ones. You've got your Stardock games. Let's see. Do they have Paradox in here? I didn't look. Yep, right there. And Shadowrun was in there too. I caught that. Gorky 17, if that's what you like. Let's see. Zoom platform. If you haven't heard of the Zoom platform, I think I've done a video on it like forever ago, but it's very interesting. So yeah. And then you've got the curated DRM free games as well that you can go through here. So it's not as big of a list as some of the others, but it's a big curated list that you can go through. And they say here for like Broforce, for example, DRM free on Windows only. PC Gaming Wiki says it will only work offline. So this is a case where you can if there aren't different packages for Broforce, which, you know what, we can actually check right now. And also note that like music in Steam is very DRM free, just due to the fact that you're downloading the music files directly and then you can copy those over elsewhere. So, I mean, you're not even, like, the music isn't even totally controlled. It's like music directory right here. Okay, cool. And many of the games will distribute it in OST in their own builds as well. So yeah, it looks like they're different, but you could feasibly get the Windows version and run it in Wine or Proton, what have you, in a prefix that way, and have it work just fine. But yeah, you can see I've got a number of games in here. So if I went through the list, we would have plenty to go through. Let's see. Some of them obviously have Linux native stuff. So if I go to, say, I've got a lot of classic ones. So finding Doom. We've got Doom 3 that I can run with the Doom source port DHEUWM3. Let's see. For some reason, my other Doom is not showing up. I thought I had that in here. Do we have Heretic? Heretic Hexen. So, like, this is one example. I can go to DOS. They provide all the files for DOS. And where were your WADs? Not listed, really? Oh, wait, right there. So you can see we've got the WADs right here for each of these games. So we don't necessarily need DOSBox, but we've also got our WADs right here. So with that, we can just take it into any other source port like UZDoom and run the files that way. So it's DRM-free, even if the engine itself isn't DRM-free. So you've also add on that I've got Hexen 2 right here, and it's the same deal, if I remember correctly. We can take Hexen 2, the game data, and run it in an open source re-implementation of the engine, and it will be DRM free because we have the game data files. But again, there's still plenty of games, if we refer back to our lists here, of games that don't even have DRM included. And so I can go through and run, let's pick on, not Morrowind. I think even my summer car and my winter car fall into this category. So if I go, I can run Proton GE, right? Yeah. So if I go prime run Proton GE and my summer car .exe, Give it a second. Some games are kind of shy when OBS is running. See, right here, okay? And now we just go to good for now. Well, let's pick better, just for kicks. And then let's not do windowed. We're going to do 1920 by 1080. So we can see that it's made a new prefix for the game data. And then I can hit play, and my summer car runs just fine in this. I'm not running Steam or anything. This is just my summer car running without... Oh. No DRM. Just Proton GE. Steam didn't run in the background. And here we are. Load the year. I don't care about popping out a, mama's little, stuff. Give me my year. And look, it runs perfectly. And look at that. We can see the house. We can see that. And my winter car should be about the same way. So, as you can see, we have it, and it runs perfectly. See? And so we see that, yes, even DRM, thinking that every game that is in Steam has DRM and requires you to run Steam, right here, I think we can see that that's not the case. So, just because it's distributed on Steam doesn't mean you need to use Steam to run the game. So again, if I go into BTOP here, I can go and filter for Steam. Nothing. Steam would have stayed running once I exited my summer car. If I would have searched for Steam while the game was running, it would have pulled up the executable or the game because it's running in the Steam directory. Anyway, DRM-free games on Steam exist. You can use it to download your games and manage them. Remember that these curated lists of DRM-free games available on Steam do exist, and that you can go through them and find the game that you're looking for. Just pay attention to some of the notes, because they will look for certain markers to say whether they are good or not. But adding an app ID TXT is nothing compared to having to run de novo on your system to get it to run. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.